What it do, family and friends? Welcome back to the Church of Black Power. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you hit that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description and put your signature on the petition for reparations. And with that being said, family, let's talk about the debate. And for those who watched, you already know how bad it is and where this is about to go. And I wanted to wait until the weekend was over because I wanted to see the reactions of everyone. And it was just like I thought it was going to be. It was bad. People out here trying to explain for Biden, try to basically put other people in a state of delusion with themselves, as if he actually did a pretty good job and all Trump did was lie. Well, they both lied, to be honest with you, but it's hilarious. We even had people out here talking about trying to get rid of him, ladies and gentlemen, trying to replace him. Now, that's going to be a tough feat to do unless he either, kicks the bucket or, steps down. But yeah, people out here trying to, beg him to do so. But anyway, let's jump into a couple of these videos, these clips I have for you here, so we can get into what it was like this weekend.
Warning: copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Let's break it all down this morning with Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press. So, spin aside, this isn't, as we said before, it isn't the performance that the Biden team hoped they would get. They wanted this debate. They wanted to put to rest these issues about the president's age and ability and competence, and that didn't happen.
Savannah, that didn't happen. And remember the timing of this debate. They were hoping they could get people to tune in early. This was the earliest debate we've seen in modern American history. Biden was trailing in the polls within the margin of error heading into this debate. And so they wanted to put those concerns to rest. Instead, we got widespread panic among Democrats overnight. One texting me saying this is a disaster. Another saying this is hard to watch. Yet another saying this race is effectively over. So you cannot overstate the level of concern. Again, the campaign trying to tamp that down, saying, hey, look, we can move on from this. He had a slow start, but he picked up as things got going. But this was really a tough night for President Biden.
You could read the opinion pages today, influential, thought leaders who are Democrats, allies of Biden, who are saying, okay, he should bow out. They should replace Biden. What is the reality of a scenario like that?
When you talk to some veteran Democrats, they say it's too late to really think about replacing him. However, others say, no, it's not. There's still an off-ramp. There's a convention. There could be a brokered convention. But what would have to happen in order for that to take place? President Biden would have to decide that he is going to step aside, that he's going to effectively unleash his delegates. How would that happen? Couple of things to watch for. Watch for the polls, Savannah. If they start to significantly drop, that's when this goes from the opinion pages of the newspapers to potentially real planning. And then you'd need high-level Democrats to get into this conversation. If you talk to insiders, there may be a handful of people who could actually have that tough conversation with President Biden.
So, in other words, this man bombed it. They want him to step to the side so they could put a new candidate in, and ain't nobody convincing him. This man is basically like, no, I'm going to die in this seat. Which I fully think that he actually wants to do. I think, if anything, he's going to die president. If anything. If he don't make it to the election. You get what I'm saying? Well, let's continue.
the First Lady, maybe former President Barack Obama. But right now, they are not there. I want to stress that. A lot of Democrats saying, stop panicking. We have had tough moments before. We can move forward.
And I want to get to former President Trump, because if we're looking...
And she just said how they want to bring in the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. That's going to be horrible for you guys. Because we already know what your husband did or didn't do. Refused to do. And that was anything for black folks. So why would bringing out Michelle Obama be any different? As a matter of fact, it's a lot better if you do, because then we can send a message to the Obamas directly.
You know, sheerly at performance, he had a good night. But on substance, he did, again, unleash a torrent of lies and false statements and misleading claims.
Torrent is the right word for it in almost every single answer, right? In one case, he was talking about abortion. He said some states allow abortion after birth. That's just not the case. That's not true. It went unfact-checked. In part, you could argue because the mics were muted. So he was allowed to kind of have those torrent of lies. On January 6th, he continued to lean into this idea that those who have been convicted have in some ways been wrong, despite the fact that more than 100 of them have pleaded guilty to their crimes.
And Biden lied just as much as this dude did. Like, there is literally no distinction between the liars on stage. One is just competent enough to understand the lies that he's saying, and the other one, he's just used to telling the lies, but isn't competent enough to stand, hell, anywhere. The man should be in a mental institution. I'll be honest with you. He should be in a home somewhere, not in the White House. But I digress.
And he yet again, Savannah, refused to unconditionally commit to accepting the election results. Democrats say that's going to drive away independent voters. Focus groups overnight showed that voters were turned off by those types of statements. But we will have to see how this all plays out in the coming days and weeks. Savannah.
We'll be watching. Kristen, thank you much for you to chew over this Sunday on Meet the Press. Kristen's going to have exclusive interviews.
You know, the funny thing is, people were more turned off about Biden's actions. People were more turned off. So much so that Kamala Harris had to get on her train toot of splaining. She went on a tour splaining. Check this.
Joining us now, I'm honored to say, is the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Madam Vice President, we're really honored to have some time with you tonight. Thank you so much for being with us.
Of course, good to be with you, Rachel, and everyone. Thank you.
So you have been hearing some of the response to the debate, the same response that we have been both issuing and also hearing ourselves. I think a lot of people who are fans and supporters of President Biden, or who are Democrats, or who are just worried about the prospect of Donald Trump returning to the presidency, feel like this was not a strong performance tonight from President Biden. I want to hear your assessment and how you respond to those critics.
Well, it was a slow start. There's no question about that. But I thought it was
a slow start. It was a slow start. Oh, everything about it was slow. Especially Joe. But I digress.
Strong finish, and in particular,
whoa. All right.
Your assessment and how you respond to those critics.
Well, it was a slow start. There's no question about that. But I thought it was a strong finish, and in particular because what we know is that when you look at the two sides of the ledger.
Whenever this woman say what we know, whenever any politician says what we know, just know they don't know shit. Sheila Jackson Lee tried to pull that with me. But as we know, no. There's no as we know, ain't no what we know. You got to prove your statement. Show and prove. And this woman, whenever she starts talking like that, just know she knows nothing. She's going to start babbling, as she always do. What we know.
I'll start. There's no question about that. But I thought it was a strong finish, and in particular because what we know is that when you look at the two sides of the ledger, what we had in Joe Biden is someone who wanted to have a debate based on facts, based on truth. And in Donald Trump, we had what we have come to expect, which is someone who's going to push lies and distract from the reality of the damage he has created and continues to create in our country. When I think about the significance of the substance of what is before us in November in 130 days, we are looking at a president in Joe Biden who has done historic work, whether it be on addressing the infrastructure issue in America. Donald Trump, remember, kept talking every week was going to be in.
Biden's legacy will be all the illegals that he's let in and all the money that's gone to them, all the money that's gone to the Ukraine, all the money that's gone over to Israel. That's what Biden's legacy is going to be. The president that had dementia, that's his legacy. And the crackhead son. That's Biden's legacy. Because he damn sure didn't do nothing for us. He did something for LGBTQ. He did something for illegals and foreigners. They want to stay away from that immigration topic. That's the same thing Biden did in the debate. He stayed far away from that immigration topic. Tried his hardest. And when they asked him about it, he switched it to some stuff about his son. Anyway, I digress.
Infrastructure week, it never happened. It was Joe Biden that made it happen so that over $1 trillion is hitting the streets of America to upgrade roads and bridges. You look at what Joe Biden has been able.
How much is that going to black people? How much is that going to the foundation of black Americans? Like trillions of dollars hitting the street. How many of those are black businesses? And I mean like foundationally black owned businesses. Because they're out there, right? It's harder than ever to get these contracts that they going around talking about they made it easier. But that's a whole nother broadcast. But yeah, that makes no sense. You want to come and tell us about trillions of dollars to work with their infrastructure where we're locked out of a lot of these spaces. So that doesn't touch none of our communities. Nowhere across America.
Able to accomplish in terms of delivering for the American people, whether it be the creation of 15 million new jobs, over 800,000 manufacturing jobs, bringing manufacturing back to the United States, what we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month, finally taking on Big Pharma and allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. These are the substantive issues that the American people care about. And what we...
Look at the face on this. She know damn well Kamala full of shit and she can't do nothing about it but look, smile.
Thought tonight is more of the same. Joe Biden fighting for the American people.
Look how bashful she looks. Oh God.
Donald Trump fighting for himself. Not to mention on the issue of choice. There was a very clear contrast. Joe Biden is very clear when the bill comes before him to put back in law the protections of Roe v. Wade, he'll sign it. What we know about Donald Trump, no matter how much he's trying to distract us from this, is when he was president, he hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe. That's exactly what they did.
Back to Roe, huh? Still beating that horse, huh? All right. I mean, people, I don't understand these folks. They clearly see that the people do not give a damn about Roe. People are still flocking to him that was flocking to him. If at all. He still has his base. That Roe shit ain't going nowhere. But they keep beating a dead horse. They keep beating the dead horse. It's already dead. Just leave it alone. God.
And now we see in case after case, state after state, laws designed to punish healthcare providers. In Texas, provide prison for life for doctors. Women who are having miscarriages because and bleeding out, excuse my language, but I'm just going to have to be explicit about the facts, because of laws that are denying them emergency care because hospitals are afraid they're going to be criminalized for doing that. And all of these bans are Trump abortion bans. He's talking about how he wants to send this decision back to the states. And we know what those arguments are about. Joe Biden has been very clear about where he stands, and he is clear with the American people. He's
very clear about where he stands. He's clear with the American people. You're absolutely correct. He's not for none of us. Black Americans, to be more specific. And that's the facts. I'm absolutely glad that you said that. Thank you.
clear in purpose, and I think that came across tonight in this debate.
You know, the issue of former President Trump lying came to the fore on this issue of choice and on this issue of abortion rights in a very pointed way. He kept asserting over and over again that if you are pro-abortion rights, or if you want to codify Roe, or if you are a critic of the decision to overturn Roe and have these abortion bans, then you are a murderer, and that you want to kill infants, and that what people who are pro-choice are people who want to kill babies after they are born. And I sometimes say this is Earth 2. This is not a factually based thing at all, but he repeatedly reiterates that. It's not the moderator's job, though.
Yeah, you're going to see this a lot, where they're basically going to keep pointing out that lie, and they're going to hold on. It's like it's their talking point that Trump's a liar. He's the liar, and Biden is the truthful person. He just had a bad night, but he's the truthful person.
To fact check that. It's essentially the other candidate's job to fact check that. I wonder what your thought just strategically is in terms of countering a counter narrative and a lie about abortion rights that's so obscene and yet so insistently repeated by their side and by their candidate.
Well, the facts are exactly what are on our side, to your point, Rachel. First of all, what they are talking about is they are attempting to, as they are wont to do, especially Donald Trump, create fear based on fiction for the sake of getting... And
you mean like what the Democrats are doing? Okay.
Hitting at political points. What we know and what he is acutely aware of is what he has done and intended to do is not politically popular with a lot of people in both so-called red states and blue states. And
you mean like letting in millions of illegals, funding them with taxpayer dollars, putting them in black cities? You mean unpopular, like giving billions of dollars over to the Ukrainians? Giving billions of dollars to Israel? Just having an open checkbook policy? Yeah. You mean something like that, right?
And so now you see him wavering. Let's not forget, when he was president of the United States, he said that if a national abortion ban was sent to his desk, he would sign it. He said that. As Maya Angelou told us a long time ago, when people tell you who they are, take them at their word. Believe them. We know that when Donald Trump comes in, if he has a Congress that passes a national abortion ban, he will sign it into law. One of the most fundamental issues of our time.
Hey.
1 second, family. We're going to let this play out because this bootlick here too, he's getting brought up too. Let's get back.
Fundamental. The idea that the government would take the ability of an individual's to make decisions about their own body and replace their good judgment with that of the government. That's what's happened in our country.
You mean like what you guys did during the C-19 situation? Where you guys were literally basically saying y'all knew better than people's own doctors? Who was forcing people to take the jabby? You mean taking away people's rights like that? Go figure. Go figure.
3 days ago, we just commemorated the 2-year anniversary of the Dobbs decision, where woman after woman who I have met, who I have traveled with, have faced extraordinary experiences of miscarriage, of losing their ability to have children in the future because they did not receive the care they needed, because hospitals and healthcare providers were afraid they'd be put in jail for doing the job of caring for these women. So I think that what Donald Trump is doing is grasping for straws. And look, they're only, of the 2 people on that debate stage, only one of them has the endorsement of his vice president.
And that's supposed to mean something? What does that even mean to people like me? Not a damn thing, especially knowing who you are. Especially coming from the state where you came from. I know your background. So your endorsement means nothing, even before the presidential run. Your endorsement is like the kiss of death. The kiss of death.
And let's not forget that. Let's not forget that.
Very awkward.
Y'all hear all the fake laughing in the background? You're about to see a sad room of sad saps. Tethers and bootlicks.
And very, very true. Vice President Kamala Harris, it's a privilege to have this time with you tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time, madam.
Good to be with you guys. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a lot more questions to ask her. I want to do a much longer interview with her. We only had a couple of minutes.
She just became so much more important to this campaign than she
absolutely.
was yesterday.
Absolutely.
Now watch the narrative of how important Kamala has now become, apparently, in the eyes of the Democrats and the dummy rats that's running around. They're going to push that agenda deep, deep, deep because they want to see more Kamala and less of President. Let's get into it.
What we just heard in her first response to you was more powerful, clearer, stronger than anything we heard from her running mate tonight.
Yeah.
She and in her second response. And so that was the kind of thing people were hoping for from President Biden on the stage tonight. She just delivered it. And the question becomes for the campaign starting tomorrow. Obviously, Joe Biden needs this kind of support. He needs others to be out there more than any other presidential candidate maybe ever has. He needs others to be out there doing this campaign work. She's the one who can get the most attention as a campaign.
How do you weave the vice president's skills, including her communication skills, which we just saw on blast there?
Yeah.
How do you weave those with the president's in a way that doesn't upstage him?
They're worried about Kamala Harris outstaging Joe Biden. She just said that she had some chops on her. If she was in the WWE, she'd have the promos down. That's not what I heard at all. I heard somebody struggling, grasping for straws. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
And that doesn't make people want to replace him with
You
him.
cannot anymore worry about that old idea of upstaging the president.
You think that's
not
over
in this
tonight?
situation.
Yeah.
You know, historically, the most active use of vice presidential candidates has been as attackers of the other side. There are some examples. Harry Truman in 1944 was brought in literally for energy. Literally to go out there. He was kind of an attacker, but he was also this energy source that FDR just could not ever deliver as a campaigner. This is a situation where you're just going to have to give her the ball, let her do more of that. But let me just add one more thing. If we had said to her, I'm going to ask you a question. You have 2 minutes to respond. We're going to cut your mic. We're going to cut your mic at the end of the 2 minutes. That would be a lot stiffer. It would not be as fluid. It would not be as confident. There'd be a lot more pressure. It changes. That debate stage changes everything about human communication.
And by the way, quietly, the Biden campaign has been using her that way. It's just it's not covered as much. But Vice President Harris has been all over this country. She is the primary voice they use on college campuses. She's been the voice they've been using really heavily in the Black community.
She's the voices that's been bringing you Sexy Red, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, City Girls, while she's bringing tangibles to everybody else. She's bringing you hip hop.
She's the one who they've been sending out because she is a voice that is younger, that is more approachable for younger audience. So they're using her that way anyway. And one of the big criticisms of the Biden White House is that they kind of hid her for 2 years and really didn't use her that much and really didn't allow her because of this whole issue of is she going to upstage President Biden. But I think the reality is her role, as Lawrence just said, it just went up so much higher. It's really important that they allow her to be herself because she is personable. She is a great communicator. And at this point, she is the vigor on the campaign. She's the vigor on the ticket. And she's the person who can reassure folks that, look, President Biden is a great decision maker. He may not be the most energetic dude in the world, but he's got this lady.
Did y'all get that, family? Kamala Harris, who couldn't even keep her own thing popping, is now the vigor on the ticket. She's the most important thing on the ticket, she said. And she's trying to convince you to believe that. She is literally just gassing her ass off. I ain't seen somebody gas like this since my homie had a diesel truck. This is ridiculous. The woman who couldn't stick her own presidential run is now the most important person on the ticket. Oh, the Democrats are down bad, family. They're down bad.
Who's also making decisions. They're making decisions together. She is.
Kamala Harris ain't making no damn decisions whatsoever. I don't believe that whatsoever.
A partner in the administration as he was to Barack Obama.
Yeah, I mean, they also used her on abortion rights. By they used her, it's also about her choice on what she goes out there and does. And I think it took her some time in the first year or two to figure out what her space and role was, right? What it was going to be. And the best presidential and vice presidential partnerships publicly, I mean, in terms of what they do publicly, is where they have different strengths.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is clearly not super comfortable talking about abortion rights beyond his strong defense of Roe.
What? Ain't this all that man been talking about for the past 3-4 years? What are you talking about? All of the DNC cats has been doing the same thing, had the same talking points. And this woman is now trying to make us believe that Biden doesn't feel comfortable speaking about abortion rights and Roe v. Wade and stuff like that. That makes no sense.
That is not where Chris is nodding here.
I mean, that's the understatement of the century, but yes, continue.
It's clearly, she is very comfortable.
Everybody give this phony little laugh. Everybody's looking pathetic. This is disgraceful.
He's very Catholic.
And he's very Catholic. She is very comfortable. She's passionate. I mean, she almost got a tear to her eye, which, by the way, is how millions of women are feeling across the country. They should have her out on every morning show. I know it's midnight, so I'm sorry, Vice President Harris. But they should have her out on every morning show tomorrow.
Yes.
And I think early on, not because it was warranted, she was not confident in her own ability to do an interview like the one she just did, or to go do a round of morning shows.
Because she was a horrible person when it comes to doing interviews. She couldn't go every 5 seconds she was cackling. Like, this isn't no secret. The internet exists, people. The internet exists. And this woman talking about, yeah, she needs to be on every morning show tomorrow. Basically, is what they saying is she needs to get out there and start explaining, or this man is going to lose. He's going to lose regardless. Her getting on every morning show isn't going to help him. And her being the main stand on the ticket isn't going to help him either. That's just worse. But let's see.
She clearly can do it. She's a very strong communicator. And what her message on abortion rights, to Joy's point, is exactly what she's been doing around the country. It just hasn't been covered nationally.
Can I just say that her office...
They keep going back to abortion rights. Trump's a liar, abortion rights. Trump's a liar, abortion rights.
Should have let us go 20 minutes with her.
Yes, I agree with that.
I mean, you only get what you get from the wife. But no, come on.
It's emblematic, though. I have to say, it is emblematic of...
Look at how she's trying to set herself up for an interview, 20-minute interview. She's calling it out right now. Come on back, Kamala. I'll give you some softballs. She ain't pressed back or nothing. She didn't press back on Kamala or nothing. But in a second, I'm going to show you who did.
Of the staffing is that they'll give you 10 minutes with her when they should give you 30. Because
they need to start really trusting Vice President Harris to cut her own path.
Absolutely.
She does very, very well.
So on one hand, ladies and gentlemen, they're telling you that Kamala's making decisions in the White House. And then on the other hand, they're basically telling you that she can't even make decisions on her own interviews. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Enjoy Ted the Reed up here trying to convince you that she's making decisions when then she turns right around and says they got to start trusting her to make these kind of decisions. So what is it? Is she making decisions or is she not making decisions? I am confused.
The more you get of her, the better it is.
That's right.
Hey there, MSN.
All right. So we're going to jump over here to Anderson Cooper's interview with Kamala Harris. Now, Anderson, he actually did give a little pushback. Peep into it.
Democratic lawmakers watching the debate were worried about the president's performance. One said it was a disaster. Another called it a train wreck. Those are Democrats especially worried that Biden did not punch back on Trump's lies.
listen, people can debate on style points, but ultimately this election and who is the president of the United States has to be about substance. Emergency health care has
all that may be true. All that may be true. But the president of the United States was not able to
but these facts are very important. See, she's not able to get off that lie like that. And the cold thing is, he's making sure she has to answer that question, and she's trying to divert and deflect some damn where else. And then when she gets called out for it, but these lies are important. Listen to my lies. But she calls them facts.
to make that case to Donald Trump on the stage tonight. I mean, you debated against then Vice President Biden 4 years ago, and he was a very different person on the stage 4 years ago when you debated him. That's certainly true, is it not?
Anderson, the point has to be performance in terms of what a president does. A president who incites an insurrection against the Capitol.
And we know what Biden does. And the answer is everything for everyone else except for Black Americans. That's the facts. Resources for everyone else. So, really, there was no point to the debate because neither one of them are doing anything. So neither one of them are getting the vote. He ain't say nothing at all that was specific to Black Americans. Biden tiptoed his ass right up out of that door with his finger in the air like he creeping out of church.
No, but I got the point that you're making about a 1.5 hour debate tonight. I'm talking about 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
Yeah, family. Then you had Barack Obama come on out and bring his nonsense. Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who's fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't tell which one you're talking about because both of them only care about themselves. And Joe Biden has never fought for ordinary folks. He's fought to lock up ordinary folks like Black Americans. He fought to increase laws that criminalize Black activity. I mean, he fought for a lot of things. But anything for ordinary folks, I don't see that. Between someone who tells the truth, who knows right from wrong, and will give it, I can't even go through that shit. Knows right from wrong. He knows right from wrong. Joe Biden. Who knows right from wrong and will give it to the American people straight. And someone who lies through his teeth for his own benefit. And that's what I'm saying when I say that they are pushing that Trump's just a liar, a liar, a liar. He didn't lie about the immigration situation at all. Although he is a liar, He told the truth about that, and Biden tiptoed right away from that. Last night didn't change that. And it's why so much is at stake in November. Yeah, so much is at stake. Then pay reparations. Come with a transformative Black agenda. Bring us policy like y'all do everybody else. If not, who cares if democracy's on the line? Democracy's on the line. If it's that important to you, what are you going to do to keep it? So then, you have Sonny over here doing the splaining and, you know, calling Trump liar and all this other stuff as well. Let me run that back, excuse me.
Joe Biden have to lower himself to even be on the same stage with this criminal, this 91 times indicted sexual harassment.
It's funny she say that because, like Trump said, his son's also a criminal. And I laughed. I laughed with pure joy when when that situation went down. When Biden called Trump a criminal, he said, "So is your son." That right there was hilarious. But I digress.
They're accused sexual assault. Why?
He doesn't have to jump because debates are not mandatory.
No,
they are not mandatory. And the other thing is, Donald Trump better be careful because in 2020, when
she said debates aren't necessary or isn't mandatory, right? But it was Biden who was asking for the debate. It was Biden who was asking for the debate. So what is she talking about? I do not understand what she's meaning because it was Biden who asked for the debate.
Biden, they had their little debate. Biden swept the floor with it.
That's right.
Exit polls suggested that he won those debates. 2020, when they had their little debate, Trump better be careful because in 2020, when they had their little debate,
she's so desperate. She had to bring up 2020 in that debate. That's why I kept playing it back to make sure you understood that this woman got so desperate in trying to find something that she literally brought up Biden's performance in 2020, not his performance in the 2024 debate. She brought up his performance in the 2020 debates 4 years ago. Living in the past. Let's continue.
Biden swept the floor with it.
That's right.
Exit polls suggested that he won those debates overwhelmingly.
And Trump is even worse now. He can't put a sentence together.
He can't put a sentence together. But what I will say is,
Trump can't put a sentence together, but Biden can't put sentences together either. And Biden's is much worse than Trump's. Biden start rambling about the moon or some stuff, astronauts and all this other stuff. So what's the difference? Trump is competent. That's the difference on that part. And I mean in the sense of he's able to walk on his own recartnance and all this other stuff. He don't need no help. Biden need help everywhere he goes. I was watching a clip the other day where it looked like he was shitting his pants on stage. Trump can't put a sentence together. Biden can't put a sentence together. And mix that and pair that with the glaze in his eyes every time the light hits it. And his freezing. That's a horrible combination. But go off.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Why legitimize a candidate like Donald Trump?
Exactly.
He is twice impeached. He is a one-term president. He has 91 counts, criminal counts pending against him. Okay? He has been found civilly liable for assault.
That's right.
He's got no money.
Tell it,
He's
girl.
a terrible
Tell it, girl.
businessman.
Tell it.
Notice, none of that even mattered whatsoever. He is a presidential candidate. Whether he was impeached, whether he's a one-term president, whether he ain't got no money, like none of those things mattered. But they were throwing this stuff out to convolute the subject. None of that stuff mattered. We're talking about a debate where this man Biden went to shit. And in order to defend Biden, y'all gotta grasp at anything you can grasp at. Anything your arms can reach for, you're reaching. You talking about the man's money, his cases. Okay, he has cases. That doesn't stop him from being able to run. So now what you're going to do? You're not being honest with yourself. And the Democratic Party aren't being honest with themselves if they think that we're going to come out for this. Especially when y'all have done nothing for us over the past 4 years. But go off.
Why do we legitimize this candidate? He is an illegitimate
I see
candidate.
that we're...
All right, so Sonny basically just, like I said, did her splaining, did her grasping. But somebody put together a clip of the fact check that was done on Joe Biden.
Some of them. He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested.
We know for a fact that last one is 100% a lie. 100% a lie. You got millions of people crossing the border and you're flying in illegals, 30,000 illegals a month. So what are you talking about? The border has fewer crossings.
He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he'd supported, never endorsed him himself. In some of them, he said he's the only president.
So yeah, like I said, they both was up there lying through their greasy little teeth. And both of them tried to stay away from actually doing something or speaking on subjects where you're doing something for Black Americans. Both of them was talking about how clean the water was, negating the mention that Flint is still out there without clean water. 2 president cycles, 3 actually, because it started under Obama. Through 3 different presidents, and Flint still has not had any clean water. Hasn't gotten any clean water. And if it's up to these folks, they won't be getting it. But y'all want to talk about who had the cleanest water. Y'all want to talk about who had the cleanest water. Mixes with the bull stuff. And then you had this guy. I don't know who the hell this guy is, but this guy soft and bussy, in the words of Tariq. They always sending out these sassy dudes to get real sassy and finger wag. Do their little sassy finger wag.
I'm supposed to sacrifice 3 years of work in progress over a 1-hour debate. Well, Joe Biden's not an effective communicator. We can barely understand what he's saying. But y'all understood when he sent you that damn email about your student loan debt forgiveness. Y'all understood that shit.
Student loan forgiveness had nothing to do with Black Americans, and the percentage of Black Americans that receive student loan forgiveness overall was very, very small compared to other races. So miss us with that nonsense.
Understood when y'all got that direct deposit for that stimulus check. Y'all understood when y'all got that.
The stimulus check started under Trump. Biden cut the stimulus checks and cut the programs that was actually helping fund unemployment and workers who work for themselves, basically. So what are you talking about?
$3,600 for that child tax credit. Y'all understood that.
The child tax credit put Black families deeper into poverty. There's studies to show that.
That shit, didn't you? When America fell on its fucking face, Joe Biden was there to pick us up and pick up the goddamn pieces.
Who is us? I've never met a guy named Us. Is Us the migrants, the illegals? Cause the damn show picked them up. Is Us Israel? Is Us Ukraine? I don't think that's us. So who is this us that this man is talking about? I've never met the guy. I've never met the guy.
His ass is the one who pulled us out of a fucking pandemic. He's the one who pulled us out of a fucking recession.
The same recession that he put us in? What? That many of us are still in? What?
When Trump lost all those fucking jobs, Joe Biden brought it back. Joe Biden has...
Trump didn't lose the jobs. The pandemic came. That was not a fault of Trump. And I'm no friend of Trump, but we got to be honest about that. That happened under any president, jobs would be lost. The country shut down. And that's when we started receiving those stimmy checks that this man is talking about, because the country shut down. But I digress.
Created 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs. We have record low unemployment. He's giving
We already spoke about the unemployment numbers. I did a broadcast on that a little while back, showing that they're using U3 numbers, which does not project the actual numbers of unemployment. The U6 numbers actually do. The U6 actually shows the number of people who were actually on unemployment and not just people who fell out of eligibility, because that's a big factor when it comes to low unemployment. Either people stop looking for work, they create businesses, or they fall out of eligibility, and that's how that works. And the U6 numbers actually reflect that. The U3 numbers do not.
$16 billion into HBCUs. He's giving $1.5 billion into small black minority business alone in 2023.
Small black minority businesses is not black businesses. Because it's going to minorities. White women are minority, are classified as them. And while SBA has been denying a lot of small black businesses, historically, ain't nothing changed under Biden. And if you're speaking about just because he gave some to some black women, a lot of that was just shits and shells, because it more went to other places, other minorities. Don't believe me? Look it up.
Free. And before you MAGA motherfuckers come in my comment section talking about, well, the pandemic was the reason why we lost the jobs. Joe Biden shouldn't get credit. He should get motherfucking credit.
Do you see how sassy this dude is? And now anybody who speaks the truth is MAGA. Anybody who has a thread of good common sense, who says, well, no, that doesn't make any sense, you're basically glazing up Joe Biden for no reason. Oh, you're MAGA now. Interesting.
Credit. Since World War II, there have been 13 recessions. And guess what? Joe Biden is one of 4 presidents to see all jobs come back.
What does that matter if it doesn't go, any of that affects the black community? What does it matter if those jobs all came back if it didn't benefit us in any way? What does it matter? Don't worry, I'll wait.
What world are y'all motherfuckers living in? Are we not living better under Biden than we did under Donald Trump?
No, and no some more. Hell no. Same race soldiers are able to do what they do and get away with it. Same presidential DOJ ignores it. So what changed? The face and the color of the shirt? We still ain't got a hate crime bill. They still fighting our reparations. They still fight policy for the black community. And they still send bussy suckers like you out to wave your sassy ass fingers. They do this on both sides of the fence. So what's different? Biden got your back. I got your back. Get out of here, man.
I can say yes, absolutely. Let's just rewind it back. 4 years ago, what cities were on fire? What did Trump do? 4 years ago, he told us to inject bleach or take disinfectant to deal with COVID. 71% of Americans are fully vaccinated thanks to Joe. Joe went.
Oh, you mean forcefully vaccinated? You forgot the word forcefully. And you acting as if that's a good thing. How many people ended up kicking the bucket due to those shots, causing some sort of underlying condition situation or whatever, calling it the vid? Ain't Dr. Fauci on trial right now? So I don't think that that's the point you wanted to make. You might want to start over.
Went from pillar to post during the pandemic, getting the vaccine on camera, showing the American people that it's safe. I don't care about any of that because Joe Biden can barely talk. Well, bitch, you can barely see because you're blind.
These are the people that the Democrats are sending out. And they want your vote. Imagine that. He just called you a blind bitch. But he wants you to go and vote for them.
You can't see the forest through the trees. How the fuck you gonna see these policies? As soon as your ass step out the door, you see Joe. When you see new projects when it comes to roads, bridges, and transportation, Joe did that with the infrastructure bill. If your ass is LGBT and you ain't lonely and you got love in your life and you thinking about getting married, think of Joe.
If you LGBT, you ain't lonely, and you got love in your life, you think of Joe. Because you know he did for you guys too. See, that's one group he can say he did for. Y'all better get out there. Joe needs you. And you better be thinking of Joe every time you think of love. Because it was Joe. It was Joe. And Joe needs you.
Got love in your life and you thinking about getting married, think of Joe. He was the one who passed the Respect for Marriage Act that codified same-sex marriage. Y'all are so quick to forget. Maybe you got cognitive decline, but yet you want me to let go of Joe because he stuttered and stumbled a bit.
Guys. In a way, I want to say things in between, but like it's just so irritating. And I know it's irritating for you too, so really I'm just stopping it just so we can get a breather sometimes. Cause damn it, these bootlicking Negroes, man. And they get nothing. Unless, Joe Biden's camp hit him off with that, check. And that's why he's doing this too. Because we did do that broadcast on showing that the Democratic Party is paying influencers. Remember? They out here paying influencers to speak good about Joe Biden without the paid sponsorship sticker on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that too. Because he is caping hard. He is going hard. Pause. He is trying his hardest to be the biggest glazer in the world for Joe Biden right now.
Bitch, I will be his balance and I will be his motherfucking backbone and get his ass to the motherfucking finish line.
Did that nigga say he'll be his backbone?
I don't give a fuck what CNN got to say, and I don't give a fuck about what Van Jones got to say. I'm not gonna let go of Joe, because Joe didn't let go of us. When times got rough, he lifted us up, and I'm here to lift you up, Joe. I'm here to return the fucking favor.
I don't know who this us is, but whoever us is, they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. So you go ahead and lift Joe up as high as you can lift him, because it ain't gonna get you nowhere. Because without us, they ain't going nowhere. Just gonna have to face the facts. Something like Van Jones had to do. He had to come to terms with himself, apparently, when he saw the debate.
That was painful. I love Joe Biden. I work for Joe Biden. He didn't do well at all. He did not do well at all. And he looked, I'll give you the analysis, you kind of have the old man versus the con man. I can walk you through how I'm supposed to see it and say it, but I just want to speak from my heart.
He said it's the old man versus the con man. I would say that would be accurate, but they're both con men. One did it professionally and the other did it professionally. Just in a different hemisphere of the professions. One was a businessman who was a con man, and one was a politician that was a con man. That's what that is. But go off.
I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his.
I love that guy. Oh, Master, I love you so much. You's a good man, Master. You's a good man's.
I love that guy. That's a good man. He loves his country. He's doing the best that he can. But he had a test to meet tonight to restore confidence of the country.
And just so you guys know, that hissing sound, I don't know what that is. It is not me. It is this clip. I don't know who mic'd these dudes up or what they're doing back there on the mic, but that is this clip.
Of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now. We're still far from our convention.
Taking a different course, translation, stepping down and letting someone else step up. Stepping down, moving to the side, and letting someone else step up.
And there is time for this party to figure out a different way forward if he will allow us to do that. But that was not what we needed from Joe Biden, and it's personally painful for a lot of people. It's not just panic, it's pain for what we saw tonight.
All right, family. But the Joe Biden campaign, no matter what anybody feels and nobody says, he's not letting go. He's holding on, and he's going to hold on strong. He said if he dies, it's going to be in the presidential seat if he doesn't make it to November, that is. However, the Biden campaign said it is full speed ahead. All aboard the Biden train. Whoop, whoop. Because they're keeping Biden in this race. And a translation for that, they couldn't get Biden to step down. Who knows? Maybe his wife is the one pulling the strings. And she's telling him to say no. Who knows? I don't know. But the translation of the matter is he's refusing to leave. So y'all gonna have to do whatever y'all do to get him back in the office. Let's go here.
The Biden campaign says it's full steam ahead and is focused on reminding voters about the choice between him and former President Donald Trump. CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest.
Democrats are hitting several swing states and the airwaves, telling their voter base to stay the course following President Biden's debate performance.
The president had a difficult night, just like every single one of us do. But I think that we know that when we get knocked down, we get back up.
The president had a difficult night, just like every one of us do. This man has been having a difficult year, maybe a difficult 2 years. He's been falling left and right, falling upstairs. How did he fall upstairs? I didn't see him falling downstairs. Biden was the first time I've ever seen falling upstairs repeatedly. But I digress.
However, Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin says rigorous talks within the party are taking place.
We're having a serious conversation about what to do. One thing I can tell you is that regardless of what President Biden decides, our party is going to be unified.
Democrats called the debate bad for both presumptive nominees, critical of Trump's lies and embellishments. Though just released CBS News polling shows 46% of registered Democratic voters think President Biden should not run, up 10% in 4 months.
And I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job.
The Biden-Harris campaign says it's instead highlighting moments like the president on the trail in North Carolina.
This was actually the same clip, not the clip, but this is the same rally that he's at, where I believe he shit himself on stage.
As they're characterizing the race as a binary choice. Republicans say it's an easy decision.
Everyone's talking about, should Joe Biden even stay in the race? That's never happened in our history. It was such a dominant performance by President Trump in this debate.
Tonight, President Biden is at Camp David celebrating the 4th with his family. His campaign says the money keeps rolling in, raising $33 million since the debate. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Yeah, family, so there you go. He said he's never gonna let go. Never gonna let go. And they raising money, $33 million since the debate, apparently. I wonder where that came from, because it definitely wasn't none of us. I don't see any average citizen running to go give Joe Biden some money right now. I just don't. And I truly believe that Biden is paying people to come out and say nice things about him, especially the influencers. That's my true belief. I might be wrong, but allegedly that's what they're doing. But yeah, this has been bad. This has been bad for Biden. And if they really, really, really want to win, they know what they have to do. They got to bend the knee and kiss the ring. Cut the check. That's all you got to do. You can cut the check. And whoever cuts the check first, they're going to see a large influx of black voters. Guaranteed. That is a guarantee. But if nobody wants to do it, nobody wants to come hat in hand, then we vote President Couch, and the Couch will win every time. And Vice President Love seat. Because we know they'll really have our backs. And I don't want none of these winos, winos, or weirdos in the comment section talking about this election is too important to sit out. There's more at stake. There's more at stake. If it's that important, tell them to cut the check. Stop trying to talk around our interest. None of that matters to us. None of it matters. Stop talking around our interests and cut the damn check. Give us some policy. Transformative black agenda. And we'll be fine. But until then, all your splaining's gonna do is irritate me. And yourself, because I'm gonna keep telling you how ignorant you sound. If it's that important, then tell them fools to cut the check. They know what we want. They know what the agenda is. They keep choosing to try and change it. We ain't fighting for Social Security or meds, pharmaceutical drugs. We don't care about none of that. Pay the debt that you owe. That's how you take care of that. And then we can be buddy and all that stuff. You can have a vote. Here you go. And then the next year, 2 years, when it's time once again to put people in office, if you're continuing to do a good job bringing us policy and things like that, yeah, you can have our vote again. But if you're not, guess what? No. I heard a space that I'm going to be going over with you guys. Not today, in a different video. But I heard a space with Judge Joe Brown in it. And it was disappointing. Because everybody, not everyone, but, you know, they were trying to make it seem like, well, if you sit out, then you don't have a right. No. See, I'm tired of this. If you don't use your vote, then you don't have a say. That's dumb stuff. Because abstaining from the voter's booth is using your voting power as well. You're leveraging your voting power. And if you took a civics class, they would tell you. So me hearing anything like that from Judge Joe, that was highly disappointed. I was highly disappointed. So with that being said, if you ain't coming with no tangibles, we ain't coming with our vote. You ain't coming with no policy. Turn around. Don't bother me. If you ain't on board for reparations, well, I guess you won't be on board. And so we won't be on board for you. This is a new dawn, a new day. We're demanding. We're not asking. Y'all are asking. Y'all asking us to come out and support you guys. And we're telling you no, because you're not supporting us. And because you're not supporting us, you can all lose your jobs. and we could start from scratch. So save your fear tactics. Save your talking points. Save the whole democracy on the line nonsense. Because if it's that important, you'll whip out that old checkbook. And with that being said, family, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you can be notified whenever videos like this drop. Please make sure you're hitting that like and share button so we can beat up the algorithm. Make sure we get this message out to the ears that need to hear. And if you have not done so yet, please hit that link in the description and put your signature on the petition for reparations. Drop a comment, let me know what you thought about the presidential debate. Did you have as much fun with it as I did? That being said, the doors of the church are closed. Peace, family.